Attention, the following video contains a bit more swearing than usual, but we were camping in temperatures below -30 and our bikes got impounded, so I think we're forgiven. Just thought I'd let you know in case you've got delicate ears. Previously on C90 Adventures.
Little baby bear! Da, 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 da.
Bat Ninja.
Potato!
So in the previous 5 episodes of our ride from Alaska to Argentina, we'd gone from riding around Alaska in the summer and autumn to getting hit by winter on our way down the Alaska Highway in northern Canada. Rach and I then came up with the idea of riding across Canada, coast to coast, in the winter. The previous episode detailed us starting our Canadian journey and riding through the Rocky Mountains, but I stopped the video there because of what was about to hit us. We were now waving goodbye to the thick tree-lined roads, and within just a few miles they'd thinned out, the hills were gone, and the temperature plummeted. This thermometer was faulty and read 5 degrees too cold, so it's actually -19, not -24. I like to keep things honest. Still pretty cold though. We rode on for just a few more miles, and it was weird. The trees and hills just stopped. I mean, completely stopped. We turned around and behind us were the Rocky Mountains, and ahead there was nothing. Absolutely nothing. But this nothing had a name, and it was called the Prairies. The Canadian prairies are a 1,000-mile wide, dead, flat, shelterless expanse that's so large it can be seen from space. And here we were, right at the start of it, with the whole width of it ahead of us. And there is so little here that the roads can have 100 miles between bends, let alone a place for us to shelter. There is a saying amongst Canadians, in the prairies you can watch your dog run away for 3 days. And as we looked around, we saw what they meant. The trouble was though, as much as we laughed at the joke, we were starting to wonder if we'd bitten off more than we could chew. There is nothing. Absolutely nothing. We were stopped on the side of the road with the camera out to try and capture the flatness of this landscape when a policeman called Brian pulled in behind us. He just wanted to make sure our bikes hadn't broken down, or we hadn't, mentally.
I like the Christmas lights.
Yeah, I know, they're broken at the moment.
We chatted for a while, and once he gauged that we were going to be okay, he gave us some gifts and left to continue on his duties. The second he left, a Red Bull delivery driver called Ryan pulled in behind us and gave us some Red Bull, thinking, those guys look like they need calories. And we certainly did. Thank you very much, Ryan, for your kind donation of energy, and thank you very much, Brian the policeman, for our Sheriff's Helper badges that you normally only give to 8-year-olds. We packed our gifts into our bikes and continued our battle against the elements. Of course, having no film crew means you have to ride back to the camera to collect it.
My face is frozen.
And the new accurate thermometer that I'd bought was letting me know just how cold it really was. Rachel had her own thermometers too.
Sorry?
My nipples are cold.
We tried to ride as much as we could, but this was tough. The already cold -20 turns into an almost unbearable -50 with the wind chill from riding. Setting up the tent now involved peeling the layers of ice apart, and the -50 wind chill would always find a way inside our helmets, causing ice to form on our hair. There was a certain charm to this place though. It had a certain beauty about it that could only come from being so raw and so desolate. But it took so much torture to see it. We were wondering if we had what it took to carry on. We set ourselves the goal of crossing Canada in winter by motorcycle to test ourselves and to see if we could do it, but also to see if we could show people that anything is possible if you just put your mind to it. But with our breath freezing to the inside of the tent, when the relentless prairie winds picked up, our first concern was our breath falling back on us as demoralising snow, but the second was hoping the tent wouldn't blow away.
It's not supposed to snow inside. Maybe we should have put some tent pegs.
I need you in my life as ballast.
Well.
The camping was proving as tough as the riding. Temperatures were now hitting -25 at night, and with all the campsites closed, we used picnic shelters where we could. Anything to keep that icy wind out and make camping that bit more bearable.
So how is Casa del Popsicle coming along?
Chilly. Quite very crunchy.
And with it being so cold, all the plastic parts in our inflatable X-Ped sleeping mats had stopped bending and clipping together.
It's a pain in the arse, Ed.
Yes. Dear X-Ped, you're a bunch of bastards.
This is what happens when your adapter gets to minus 25.
Really?
Maybe you should warm it up.
We had to use this external pump to inflate them, as the mat's internal pump had frozen solid.
Might just have to do pumpy.
I would do, except because X-Ped are a bunch of cunts. They've used a pump that can freeze. Oh look, let's pump that, shall we? Pump.
Frustration was really starting to set in. We needed these mats inflated, and we were losing our battle against the cold.
Here we are, you
Yay!
twat.
Ta-da! Happy?
Yeah, ecstatic. My frozen moustache.
Your frozen hair. Your frozen eyelashes.
And it's on my face. Can you help me?
What would you like me to do?
Assist me so I don't get snow on my face.
You could rotate over so that your face is facing down,
No.
and then when you get out, the sleeping bag on your back like a snail.
Like a newborn kitten, my eyes were
What are you doing?
rotating.
Camping was now pushing us well past our comfort zones, and at times the only thing keeping us going were our senses of humour as we struggled to get dressed in the morning.
Today on Really Tough Adventurers, Rachel Lasham says ow a lot.
I got cramp.
Crab!
I had to... Oh. Got to do my shoelaces up because it wasn't near me. I got cramp.
She's half teddy bear, half ninja. She is. Teddy ninja.
Shit ninja. It'd be alright if my gloves had fingers.
What have you got?
Cold finger. Oh, motherfucker. My toes are really cold now.
We continued on our ride trying to keep each other's spirits up, although a joke isn't needed when a snowmobile pulls up next to your bike in a petrol station. There were some days though when a snowstorm would blow in. These were very dangerous for us because of the other drivers on the road. It's entirely possible that we could completely disappear in the sometimes zero visibility, and it just wasn't worth the risk for us. On days like these we had to shelter in an enormous dinosaur. Seriously though, even staying in a dinosaur instead of riding was better than getting hit by a car. Nobody wants to cause a Tyrannosaurus wreck. I'm so sorry about that. I'm not sorry for getting motel rooms though. Sometimes they were needed to shelter in for a day or two until the storms passed. Other times they were needed just to feel human again. There's only so many nights you can endure getting into a frozen sleeping bag that's colder than your household freezer. And there's nothing quite like the feeling of a warm shower making your genitals become external again. I was also writing articles for CanadaMotorGuide.com as we crossed Canada, so the warm motel rooms allowed me to get them written. Looks pretty professional, that. The next day though, with the weather clear, the show must go on.
And today's riding temperature is... Ooh, -10. What did you just say?
I've got snow in my muff. It's going to be really cold. Oh, now I get snow in my box.
Oh, now she's got snow in her box.
You hold my muff?
I'll hold your muff.
On a nice and warm -10 day we could get some real miles done, and we continue our strategy of hopping between towns that sold hot food, because cooking using our camp stove wasn't exactly going well.
Good morning campers, it's -20 or so, and welcome to Will It Freeze with Ed March. Today we will be testing eggs. We have our egg, so now we must try and cook. Fucking Next question, how do you get into it? Yes. This is really confusing.
Not as confusing as trying to get the egg out of its shell. The axe wasn't working, so I used the wood saw inside the handle of the axe.
Right. There we are. Method number 1 sucks.
Although not as much as trying to fry it.
Smear is burnt.
Remember, every piece of equipment must have 2 uses.
It's alright. Oh, no, it's really not. Oh, we can try the final bit of egg ice cream. Mmm. No. Never try frozen egg.
Huh?
Never try frozen egg.
Horrible.
Yeah. Right, fuck that.
So I thought I'd have a go at boiling them and see if that worked. But it just looked like a jacuzzi after a gangbang. So I wasn't really hungry anymore. So we went to a restaurant. As we sat in the restaurants, it was always funny to look out the windows and watch the locals crowd around the bikes. And we were always stunned by their generosity.
Well, just finished eating the food and we don't have to pay for it because it's been paid for by the people who are looking at the bikes.
Nom nom. It was very kind of them. They didn't even stop to say bye. Stop to say, couldn't have it. That's that. Very kind of them.
Very kind.
And this was the main thing that kept our spirits up. The people. Canadians really are a friendly bunch. Every time we stopped to fill up our bikes with fuel, someone would stop to make sure we were okay.
Yeah, we're fine, thank you.
Sorry, you're okay.
fine, thank you.
The next day, a guy called Alfred came up to us in the subway and gave us $20 to spend on hot food. And then the day after that, a lovely lady called Janet overheard us in a restaurant talking about where to camp that night and said, "I'm going to take a leap of faith. I'm going to offer you a bed for the night." We chuckled as we could tell our daughter and son-in-law were both thinking, "I think Mum's lost it." One guy called Rob took us in and even gave Rachel a snowmobile screen to fit to her bike to shelter her from the wind. I got the spare door from an enclosed ride-on lawnmower.
You like to show us around your motorcycle?
Have the adventure screen, which I've taken inspiration from the KTM 1290 for that. This is the Ed March Shit 90. I have the fully equipped adventure dashboard. So I have the cock, which displays the temperature, which is the backup thermometer to the proper electronic thermometer, which can record minimum and maximum. And last night's tent temperature, minus 32.9. Ah, yes. I should also say that Rob thought we were both stark raving mad when we turned down his offer of a nice warm bed because we'd seen that the temperature that night was going to be minus 33. And yes, we actually camped outside in that temperature. It was a cold night, not gonna lie, but it was nice to see that our winter gear was warm enough for these temperatures. Anyway, enough about camping. Back to my thermometer obsession. Backup thermometer is this one, which shows anything between sort of 10 and 15, depending on how hard you hit it. And I have lots and lots of duct tape. We're taking sponsorship very seriously. So we have the Percy the sponsorship pig. People put money in and... So with our new screens fitted and some new rubber on the wheels, we carried on riding the painfully straight roads, which were only spiced up by the odd tree or snowmobile riding on the verge. However, we had just approached a very special point. After several weeks of riding, we made it to the centre of Canada. We set up the tripod to try and capture this special moment for us, which was always tricky given the limited mobility our Arctic clothing gives us. As Rachel demonstrates perfectly. Whoops! Shortly after we struck a pose to celebrate this momentous moment and the halfway point, we had another momentous moment. Just a few miles later, the prairies ended. Look! A rock! Trees! A hill! Our joy was short-lived though, because...
Another day, another policeman.
We got pulled over for the third time in Canada. The GoPro wasn't working, they don't work well below minus 10, so I'll have to reenact the conversation for you. Can I see your documents, please? Certainly, officer. Here they are. Always be polite and comply with the police. Things just go a lot easier. We've had somebody phone us up saying that there's motorcycles riding on the road. Yes, they are correct. Okay then. We were then kept there by the officer while he did basically nothing for over an hour before letting us go, which meant that the sun went down and we were then forced to ride in the dark. I should also note that this part of Canada only has one road, so although we pulled over regularly to let cars past, we didn't want to ride at night because you can't pull over to let the cars past when you can't see if the pullouts are clear because everything's white. So thank you to the twat that phoned up the police. You made us ride in the dark. You dickhead. Anyway, enough about losers for the minute. The next day we continued on our ride through... Really? Again? In fairness, he just pulled us over to make sure we were okay, but it was starting to wear a little thin if I'm honest. But you've got to play the game, act polite, and be compliant. It just makes things easier. Eventually he let us go on our way, and we continued on our journey. And it was then that we got to... Seriously? A fifth time? Okay, Canadians don't ride motorcycles when it's cold. We get it. But the roads are perfectly clear, and we're doing just 5 miles an hour under the speed limit. Just leave us alone and let us ride to the next town with hot food, please. It's freezing. So we did actually get to carry on our journey and got to the next town where we parked our bikes up. In between all the snowmobiles, which is always funny. And we got some hot food in a restaurant. And it was in that restaurant that we met Dwight, Kylie, Ernie, Sindra and Corey. They were on some of the snowmobiles outside and invited us over to their house for a little party that night. The party was good, but the next day Dwight took us dog sledding, which was awesome. I love adventure motorcycling on small daft bikes. How else could you get picked up in a bar and taken dog sledding? See, sometimes looking daft is a good thing. And also, Corey said he had an ice fishing hut on the lake. Ice fishing, eh? Never tried that before. Once again we got very confused looks as we said, thanks for the offer of the warm bed in your house, but we'd love to sleep in that uninsulated hut tonight on the frozen lake when it's -20 outside. That sounds awesome. And in fairness, it was. They fired up the auger and drilled through the 2-foot thick ice to the icy waters below. We then fished.
Ready?
Yeah?
Yay, fishy, fishy. How do I know when to stop? Right, 3, 2, 1, launch! Should you watch a film?
And we did actually watch Dumb and Dumber on my laptop until...
Is that filming?
It is now! Ah, I got a fish! Don't lose it! Quick, get it out! Ah. Yay! David got a fish!
Fish!
David got a fish! Oh!
You whack them around the head, don't you?
I think so. Put them on ice.
Don't you whack them?
I don't know, Ed.
It should be noted that this was the second time I'd ever fished and I had no idea how to kill them or how to remove a hook.
No fucking way.
Swing a dick. You and the dick. Look your mouth up, face.
I can't believe it.
And in the time it took to remove the hook, the fish actually froze solid due to the cold temperatures in the hut.
Fish.
Frozen fish.
Sorry Mr. Fish, but you did taste nice. The next day we hit the road again and continued to ride through this very pretty landscape, whether it was the ice formations flowing over rocks or the vast expanses of frozen water. The road always had something to show us. Well, I say road, it's a weird feeling looking at your sat-nav and seeing water straight ahead. And it definitely feels weird ignoring the sat-nav and following the road onto the frozen lake. Once we were a quarter of a mile from land, we stopped to look at another form of fun that Canadians have in the winter. Pretty sweet. Eventually though we made it back to land and Rachel decided to show off some of her new power sliding skills. Not bad at all. However, this wasn't getting the miles done, so we hit the tarmac again. And it wasn't long before we were once again treated to some more beautiful sights. This time it was the sun setting over Lake Superior. We made it to a town just as the sun was setting and spotted there was another frozen lake, so we thought, why not camp on it? Well, the sensible answer would have been, because it hasn't been graded and it's covered in 2 foot of snow. Dope. With a lot of pushing and lifting, we got to the middle of the lake and set up camp for the night, before Canada had one last treat for us. The Northern Lights appeared. And no, there isn't a naked photo here like in Alaska. The temperatures were still hitting -26, so definitely no nudity. The temperature inside the fully zipped up tent could reach an almost tropical -10 though, perfect for a cosy night's sleep. In the morning it was the same old scraping the ice off the sleeping bag and then get out of the tent to watch the snowmobiles playing. We decided to set up the camera to take a nice photo of us, but we were wondering if we'd started to go a little mad.
Yeah.
And the puns were getting worse too.
No, in my glove. But luckily it's only in one glove.
And then Rachel just went mental.
Don't know about all this snow business. Ah, there's no business, I know business, I'm gone.
On that note, we packed up and left, although my bike was also starting to have a breakdown, and I was having enough of it keep cutting out.
Screw you guys, I'm going home.
Screw you guys, I'm going home.
Poor little 90 was starting to have enough of these conditions, and that night when the temperature plummeted, she completely refused to start. I think she'd had enough of the cold. I set about using our stove to warm the spark plug, and eventually the whole engine. She really didn't want to run.
Hey! Oh.
The The stranger thing though was that even Rachel's bike refused to start without the stove underneath.
Come on! Come on, you bastard!
Hey! Woo! Ed March, my hero.
So there we are. To start your bikes when it's -24, even though they start when it's -26, you need a stove. You need to stop following every rule book you've been told and set fire to the underside of your bike and kick it over. And so everything must have two uses. So the Coleman stove definitely does.
We didn't hit the road that night and instead retired to a warm house with Wi-Fi. Oh, and when Rachel logged onto her Wander on a Honda Facebook page, she had a rather interesting rant on there from a guy called Richie. You remember the cop that pulled us over because someone reported us riding on the road? Well, the person that reported us was Richie. Now, obviously I don't have any footage of him, so I'll have to reenact Richie typing his rant.
Tell you guys what, my girlfriend down here crashed after trying to pass you two in Manitoba. What you're doing is not an adventure, it's bloody dangerous. If one wishes to be adventurous and base jump or parachute, race cars, etc., they're risking their own lives only. What you are doing brings the general travelling public potentially into a dangerous situation. How do you think some poor driver would feel if he came around a corner in less than ideal conditions like we had last Friday? And here you two were, on the edge of a lane, driving well below the posted speed limit, and she had to choose to either hit you, hit the ditch, or head into an oncoming lane. I was convinced someone would be peeling you off of the grill of a semi. How about the poor cop that may have to inform your loved ones that he was the one who peeled your remains off the bumper? Adventures are fine, but this is thoughtless and a bloody danger to all of us who travel up here. Motorcycles are for summer, not February on the Trans-Canada and Northern Ontario. If you insist on riding in winter, do it while the rest of us are not affected by your wanton carelessness. Rant finished. Thanks for scaring the hell out of her.
Oh Richie, I've been waiting a schlong time to do this. First off, thank you very much for the photos that you took of us while driving one-handed behind us. We don't often get that camera angle. But let's address that your girlfriend nearly killed herself while overtaking us, shall we? Using Google Street View, I found you took your photos here, next to Dawson Road and Station Road, which is here, on a 20-fucking-mile long straight. If your girlfriend can't overtake here, I really don't think she should be driving. Also, these less than ideal conditions that you describe, in your photo you can see these trees, which are 1.2 miles away. If you think this is limited visibility, I don't think you should be driving either. As for riding where the rest of us aren't affected, the centre of Canada only has one road in the centre of it, which cyclists, tractors and pedestrians are all allowed on, because there's only one road. But the thing that really pisses me off, Richie, is that there's people like you that think it's your God-given right to not be delayed by 30 seconds just because you and your girlfriend are arseholes. We pull over regularly to let cars pass if needed, or we ride on the right-hand side of the road to let them pass easily. We never ride in poor conditions, which was proven in this video and in the Alaska video when we got a 500-mile lift just to avoid retards like you and your girlfriend that can't drive. The roads are always grippy when we ride. If your girlfriend comes around a corner and has no choice but to crash when she comes up behind a vehicle travelling in the same fucking direction as her, she should not be driving, she has limited brain function, and if you're having sex with your girlfriend, I think you've overstepped your position of responsibility in being her carer. Slow the fuck down. We're still way faster than a bicycle or a tractor, and you should not be driving expecting to hit them if they're round a corner. Oh, and rather ironically, thank you very much for endangering our lives and causing us to ride at night, dickwad. Humanity needs a cull. It really, really needs a cull.
Right, now where were we? Yes, it was bloody freezing and my bike was being a pain in the arse. To cut a very long story short, I put up a post on Facebook asking if anyone knew where I could get a new piston from in Canada, and a guy called Mike James sent me a complete new engine, free of charge. Now some people care about pub talk and want to say their bike is 100% original. Me? It's a brand new engine. You'd be a complete moron to turn it down. Plus, I killed my old engine kickstarting in the -20s, and that in my book is way cooler than having all original parts.
I made a difference. Woohoo, it runs!
With my lovely new engine fitted, we decided to remove the screens from the bikes as the brutal Arctic winds were now being shielded by all the dense forest of southern Ontario, and set off to make some real progress at full speed. We stayed in a motel that night, and when we went outside in the morning, something really weird had happened.
There was a day last year when we went to bed and it was autumn and woke up when it was winter, and the opposite has happened today. It's gone from winter to, I would say spring, but if I'm honest, it's an English summer. Scotcho. My array of thermometers, which I have, My digital one, which I left in the sun, says 22. Captain Vague says 25. The cock says 10. So yeah, here we are. That might be winter. So goodbye winter, goodbye. How are you currently feeling, Rach, in your 27 layers of clothing?
Very warm, but I'm very happy. It's actually really nice. I'm quite enjoying it. It's not that I don't miss the cold, but I'm really, really enjoying not freezing my face off.
Well, let's get riding.
And ride we did. The miles were now flying by. Winter in Canada did actually just turn off like a switch. We could now ride for more than an hour before the cold forced us inside. Spring was awesome. Filling up the bikes could now be done with our gloves off. This was amazing. We were now here and getting really close to the end. We even rode through Toronto and got to see Niagara Falls in all its snow-covered glory. Things were really looking up. As we continued our ride east and entered the province of Quebec, where they speak French, nothing could stop us. It's not like our bikes were going to get impounded. How's Quebec?
Awesome.
Ah yes. Previously that day, the famous Quebec police pulled us over and got our bikes impounded. Once again, I don't have any footage of the incident, so I'll have to do another professional reenactment.
Document, s'il vous plaît. Oui, do you speak English? Of course. Ah, thank you. My French isn't that good. What is the problem? I have called for 2 tow trucks. Your bikes are illegal and they are being taken for inspection. I don't think our bikes are illegal, sir. En français. Can you speak English, please? My French isn't good enough to understand traffic law. Non, en français. But you speak perfect English. Why do you switch from English to French when you get an answer that you don't like? Can we please just ride to the inspection station? It's only 2 miles away and we're already on the exit of the highway. In fact, you can just give us a police escort and then we don't need to wait another half an hour for the tow truck to turn up, which is going to cause a massive tailback on the highway. No, you have to pay for 2 tow trucks. And why have you called 2 massive tow trucks? Our bikes are tiny. You can take one if you wish, but you still have to pay for 2. That is already $200. Ah yes, we'd heard about Quebec cops. This is all starting to make sense now. You are being taken to the inspection station, and that is that. I'll try to keep this brief. What happened was that a SWAT team, yes really, a SWAT team, phoned up the police and reported us for riding on the highway, even though there's no minimum engine size, and we were doing 55 miles an hour in a 60 mile an hour speed limit and keeping up with the slow daytime traffic. The cop had an immediate chip on his shoulder, and it didn't take him long to find something wrong with our bikes. Ironically, it was our studded tyres. You see, he said we were in a 20-mile wide zone of Quebec, where studded tyres are illegal, which makes perfect sense because the police stop it snowing inside the box and they only let snow fall outside of the box. To cut a very long story short, even though we showed him that our brakes, lights and controls were all safe and perfectly functional, he didn't care and just kept on making up more bullshit. And there comes a time when every adventure motorcyclist has to just accept this because there's nothing you can do about it when they're this much of an arsehole and pay the Quebec police the $500 that they want from you. Oh, and I've since found out that this 20-mile zone doesn't actually exist. The cop just completely made it up. And that is why people avoid Quebec when they ride from coast to coast in Canada and they drop down into the USA. What happened to us was not an anomaly, and it's why truckers often completely avoid Quebec for exactly the same reasons. Maybe I should organise the cop. Yeah, that sounds fun.
Eventually Officer Dickhead left us in the custody of Serge, the towing guy, who was now allowed to make his own decisions, so we put both bikes on one truck, but it was still another $100.
Well, I was hoping for a wave.
Do you know how I'm feeling?
How are you feeling? Pushed off?
Pissed off. Sad face.
Oh well, at least we're not French.
And we've got each other.
Oh yeah, and we've got each other.
Whoops. Still, when life gives you lemons and you can't ram them up a policeman's ass, you have to make lemonade. Serge very kindly let us stay in a horse box in his impound yard for free until we worked out a solution.
Did you like the trailer?
Yeah, that
And stay in his horse box we did.
It's the nicest room we've had in a
That's
while,
all right.
darling.
That's all right.
Yes.
For the,
Très bien, merci.
for tonight, that's okay.
Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah. Welcome to my chambre. Il y a coat hooks. It's one of them skylights. The skylight.
Lead the sky.
The lit switch. About it. Straps are holding do. Sorry, Mum.
And we had music to keep our spirits up.
Make a really shit American music video.
Oh, really? I'm right on the road. I've had enough. Apparently our bikes ain't good enough.
What rhymes with cunts?
Month. Ride my bike on the roads. Lisa cuts. Everyone knows.
Anyway, we weren't allowed to ride on the road and had to get collected by someone, so I put a post on Facebook asking for help, and we went to sleep on this lovely warm night to see what the next day would bring.
So, time to pack up and leave. It was summer yesterday, so I'll just open the door now to make sure it still is. Well, we're getting a lift, which is good news because thanks to the Quebec government being as backwards as it is, studded tyres are illegal. So thanks for asking us to die.
Morons. However, two non-morons by the name of Gabriel and Marie turned up to give us a lift in the back of a very small Honda Element. With both bikes in a car, the police were satisfied and we were on our way again. We got taken to Quebec City to collect our tyres and stay with another Facebook friend called Alain. We said our goodbyes to Gabriel and Marie.
Sorry about the cops.
And Alain then took us on a guided tour of Quebec City. We saw some interesting things. Some impressive things. And some infuriating things. Yep, that's right, motorcycles are banned from the city centre. Yet another moronic move. But then, I'll probably never understand the logic of a government that has arrête signs instead of stop signs. Even the French have stop signs. That means they're trying to be more French than the French. WT fuck. Stay positive, Ed. Ah yes, we had a lovely few days with Alain and his family, but eventually it was time to say goodbye to some more new friends, and realise that the people of Quebec are lovely, but the government and its agents can go suck a fat one. As stated before, the lovely people of Quebec were now helping us leave Quebec, and Alain's son Dominic was now giving us a lift in the back of his truck to the province of New Brunswick.
I now pronounce these bikes not impounded by a bunch of bastards.
Where we were allowed to unload the bikes and get back to our normal routine of camping in the melting snow, so it wasn't all bad.
Always look on the bright side of life.
This is Ed axing some wood for the first time. So far he's only axed snow.
Yeah.
Very manly, so he's got a can of man drink. Can of enthusiasm.
Can of enthusiasm, or anti-Quebec juice, as I'm calling it.
Is that the antidote?
Yeah.
In the morning it was time to pack up camp and hit the road. There was the odd dirt road available to us. While they were fun to ride on, something much nicer happened to us that day. We got to see the sea! We'd made it to the end of mainland Canada! We'd made it to the coast! We called in to see Rob and Courtney that run Canada Motor Guide, and they very kindly let us stay at their house for 2 weeks while I edited episode 3 of this current YouTube series, which was very appreciated. Probably more than they appreciated me telling them that I'd spotted a leak in their ceiling. And in the 2 weeks it took to edit the YouTube video, another weather change happened. Winter finally left. All the cute little beavers appeared. and was swimming around. And Sean Connery's eyebrows came out of hibernation too. We made a final push to get to the very end of the mainland and did a little bit of off-roading to find a lovely secluded spot by the sea to set up camp for the night. In the morning we awoke to tranquil waters and packed up camp to get another lift. Well, in fairness, we didn't have much choice. We wanted to get to the easternmost road in North America, and that was on the Canadian island of Newfoundland. So we got on the ferry. And thanks to the operator Marine Atlantic for the free tickets, the journey was most pleasant and very recommended. The ferry took 7 hours, and eventually we were greeted by land. And as we rode off the ferry and onto land, Rachel decided to lead for once. Rachel then stopped leading, and I went back to being navigator. We loved riding through Newfoundland, and there was lots to see, but that's going to be in the next update. There's only so much excitement you can put in one of these videos. Sometimes a bit too much excitement. Rachel, you're supposed to be looking at the ground. Oh, I do love you, Rach. Then we made the final push on the final road and made it to Cape Spear. This was it. We'd made it. The easternmost point. Well, I say the easternmost point. We found a little footpath that took you right to the end. And then we had made it. And that was it. We'd done it. Coast to coast. To think back on what we'd done was mental. We'd ridden 1/5 of the way around planet Earth crossing Canada. We'd ridden in the -20s and camped in the -30s. Our total journey time was 6 months. Sure, we had tried to cross the whole of Canada in the winter, and the warm weather came before we finished, but a month and a half of the journey was spent editing YouTube videos for you guys. And more time than that was spent stationary, enjoying Canadian hospitality. Friendly Canadians far outweighed the couple of cockwombles that we met along the way. The friends we made this trip almost as much as the challenge did, and that is why it's with a very heavy heart that I say that in between crossing Canada and making this video, Rob Harris, who ran Canada Motor Guide, passed away. Some people will focus on the fact that he died on a motorcycle, but for me, Rob got to live riding a motorcycle. Get out there and do fun things and make the world a better place, because you never know when your time's going to be up. Tomorrow you could trip on a curb, hit your head, and then that's it. Lights out. But thank you very much, Rob, for enriching the lives of Rachel and I. The pain of your death has been far outweighed by the good that you've brought the world. And that's all we can do. I try and do my bit with these videos. Thank you very much for watching, and thank you so much to all the people that have sent the PayPal donations that has helped me make these videos. If you're new here, the PayPal donations fund these videos. Not going to be pushing for any donations this time, because it just doesn't feel right. Instead, I'm going to go for a walk, going to take a beer with me, and I'm going to leave this mattress sound recording studio that I've been in for 2 weeks now, making this video for you guys. And yeah, I'm going to take my beer, go for a walk, and think of my friend Rob. So yeah, cheers, Rob. I'll be having this one on the beach for you. And thanks for watching, guys. It means a lot.